And a lot of this, far as Jordan and Bron relationship, is self-inflicted by LeBron.
You're LeBron James. You came into the league wearing number 23. Now, eventually, it was to be the GOAT and to be supplanted.
Welcome back to another explosive episode of NBA, where today we dig into one of the most misunderstood and quietly uncomfortable stories in basketball history. Why Michael Jordan and LeBron James never formed the legendary bond fans expected. For years, fans have speculated. Was it ego? Was it generational rivalry? Was it Jordan refusing to pass the torch? Or LeBron demanding it too soon? The truth, as it turns out, is far more revealing and far more uncomfortable. And now, Stephen A. Smith and Kendrick Perkins are finally pulling back the curtain. This isn't internet rumor. This isn't fan fiction. These are voices from inside the NBA culture. People who understand how respect works among legends. And what they reveal is clear. The distance between Jordan and LeBron wasn't accidental. It was self-inflicted. At the center of it all is one moment. One declaration. One line that changed everything. Kendrick Perkins wastes no time identifying the turning point. According to him, the moment LeBron James publicly declared himself the greatest basketball player of all time, any realistic chance of a meaningful relationship with Michael Jordan quietly died. And this is where context matters in NBA culture, especially among the greats. Humility is not weakness, it's currency. The legends before LeBron understood this. Kobe Bryant never crowned himself. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar never demanded the label. Tim Duncan never chased validation. Even Shaq, loud as he was, let debates around him instead of declaring himself above the game. Michael Jordan is the embodiment of that philosophy. Jordan never asked to be called a GOAT. He never ran campaigns. He never argued his case. The world arrived at that conclusion on its own. His dominance forced respect. His silence amplified, I think so, when LeBron, someone who openly admitted to idolizing Jordan, stood on a global stage and crowned himself. It didn't come off as confidence to those inside the culture. It came off as entitlement. Kendrick Perkins makes it clear this wasn't about anger or jealousy. Jordan didn't lash out. He didn't respond publicly. There was no feud. Instead, there was something far colder and far more final: disappointment. From Jordan's perspective, this wasn't just LeBron elevating himself. It was LeBron skipping the unspoken code. The idea that greatness is decided by time, peers, and history, not self-appointment. By placing himself above Jordan, LeBron didn't just enter the conversation. He closed the door on mentorship, mutual admiration, and generational unity. What could have been a bridge between eras became a wall. Stephen A. reinforces this point by reminding viewers that Jordan values earned reverence, not declared supremacy. Respect in his world is something others give you when you've left no doubt, not something you take for yourself while the debate is still alive. And that's the irony. LeBron didn't need to say it. His resume was already strong enough to keep him in the conversation. But by saying it out loud, by anointing himself while the game was still being written, he changed how the old guard viewed him, not as a student who surpassed the teacher, not as a successor who honored the throne, but as someone who tried to claim it prematurely. Kendrick Perkins doesn't say Jordan hates LeBron. He says something more damaging: Jordan disengaged. And in the world of legends, silence is louder than criticism. What should have been a generational alliance became a generational disconnect. Not because of rivalry, not because of jealousy, but because one man let history speak for him, and the other tried to speak for history itself.
A lot of this, far as Jordan and Bron relationship, is self-inflicted by LeBron.
What makes this entire situation even more striking is this simple truth. This GOAT debate was not forced on LeBron James. It wasn't instigated by angry fans. It wasn't manufactured by ESPN panels. It wasn't born from social media chaos. It was largely created and fueled by LeBron himself. Think about that. Most legendary debates in sports happen organically. Time passes. Careers end. Comparisons emerge naturally. Fans argue. Media debates. History weighs in. That's how it happened with Jordan and Kareem. That's how it happened with Magic and Bird. Even Kobe's legacy was shaped post-career, not self-declared midstream. LeBron broke that pattern. Instead of allowing history to build his case, He stepped directly into the conversation while still playing and declared himself the greatest of all time. That single decision changed everything. It didn't just intensify the debate, it personalized it. It transformed what should have been a long-term historical evaluation into a real-time challenge to the very legends who built the foundation of the game. For players like Michael Jordan, that matters. Jordan came from an era where greatness was whispered, not announced. Where respect was earned through dominance, not demanded through declarations. Where the code was simple. Let your enemies crown you, not yourself. Jordan never stood at a microphone and called himself the GOAT. He didn't need to. His opponents did it for him. His peers did it for him. History did it for him thus when LeBron chose a self-aggrandizing route, placing himself at the center of the conversation. It clashed directly with everything that previous generations stood for. To them, it wasn't confidence. It felt like a violation of the code. Kendrick Perkins makes it clear. This move didn't just stir debate, it created division. Because now the conversation wasn't about basketball anymore. It wasn't about eras, rules, teammates, or evolution of the game. It became personal. It became about respect or the lack of it at BY crowning himself. LeBron didn't just elevate his own status. He implicitly pushed Jordan aside. And for someone who once openly idolized MJ, that shift was jarring. What should have been reverence turned into rivalry, unspoken but unmistakable. And that's the real cost here. LeBron didn't just invite criticism from fans. He likely closed the door on mutual admiration from a man whose approval actually mattered. Jordan never needed LeBron's respect. But LeBron, whether he admits it or not, always wanted Jordan's by lighting the match. LeBron may have burned the very bridge he once hoped to cross. According to Perkins, LeBron isn't just involved in the GOAT debate. He's the architect of it. And once you place yourself above history before history is finished, you don't just invite scrutiny. You isolate yourself from the very legends who could have embraced you. This wasn't inevitable. IT was avoidable. And that's what makes it so revealing.
I think about the greatest player of all time, it's still LeBron James in my eyes. It's a debate all day. Some people could go with Jordan, some people could go with Bron. Like I told Molly and Steve.
What makes Kendrick Perkins' perspective especially compelling is that it introduces balance into a conversation that has largely been driven by extremes. Kendrick openly admits that in his personal view, LeBron James is a GOAT. That alone is not controversial. What is important is what he says immediately after. He doesn't present his opinion as a verdict. He doesn't treat it like a final ruling handed down from on high. Instead, he acknowledges a truth that many fans conveniently ignore. GOAT status is inherently subjective. Some people will always choose Michael Jordan. Others will choose LeBron James. And neither side is illegitimate. That admission alone shows intellectual honesty. Kendrick understands something fundamental about legacy debates. They are not solved by declarations. They are shaped by time. And this is where the contrast becomes unavoidable. Kendrick can say LeBron is the greatest in his eyes while still respecting Jordan's path, Jordan's era, and Jordan's silence. He understands that this debate is ongoing, layered, and deeply tied to personal values. Dominance versus longevity, mystique versus accessibility, conquest versus consistency. That nuance is what gives his opinion credibility. That LeBron, however, did not approach it with that same restraint, BY declaring himself the GOAT mid-career. In a moment of personal triumph, LeBron didn't just share an opinion. He attempted to close a conversation that history hadn't finished having. And that's the critical distinction. Kendrick leaves room for disagreement. LeBron did not. Kendrick treats the debate as something larger than himself. LeBron centered entirely around himself. That difference matters. Timing matters. Humility matters. Context matters. Had LeBron waited until retirement, until the full scope of his career could be measured, debated, and digested, the declaration might have landed differently. Had he allowed former players, coaches, rivals, and historians to make the case for him, the respect would have come naturally. That's how it worked for Jordan. That's how it worked for Kareem. That's how it worked for Kobe. Instead, LeBron chose immediacy over patience. And while the statement may have felt empowering in the moment, its long-term effect has been the opposite. It hardened opposition. It alienated older legends. It reframed the debate from basketball analysis into ego comparison. Even supporters like Kendrick can recognize that while greatness is debatable, Self-coronation rarely strengthens a legacy. That's the irony at the heart of this entire discussion. Kendrick's take proves that you can believe LeBron is a GOAT and still respect the process. LeBron skipped the process. He bypassed the waiting. And that decision continues to echo, louder than rings, louder than stats, louder than longevity. Because in the end, greatness that must be announced is never as powerful as greatness that is agreed upon.